Suna giovate don della stadia, suna giovate. Yeah, me also do. So, so Zoom, you don't see comments popping up, right? Oh, okay, sorry. So, diamno le sai. So Zoom. Oh, okay, that's. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, j'ai le grand honneur et plaisir de vous présenter une artiste exceptionnelle. I have the great honor and pleasure to present tonight an exceptional artist. Elle est la première femme à jouer professionnellement de la kora. She is the first female kora virtuoso and come from...
So how's the background now? Is it okay? It's better. Oh, that's fine. It's okay. Good. Perfect. We will be asking question. Nimbe, okay, you will be reading the questions, right? Okay, Barakabaki, thank you very much, Bading Gambiano. Basically, not maniga kamo kweta bakilenak. The reason is, state of manikol kono bakile from Bama Pirang. So my mom is from Pirang. So basically, Pirang okay, womaninga satel. So maniga kamo moje bakile from. So not discussion kono because na realize ko mo jamale bela rola. So some of them would like to benefit from my talk show. So for that being the case, but trailer as much as possible nga English ning mandika kao. If possible, aning surwa kao. Nga try pour nga adundije. Nga adundije. Are you? Yeah. So be lafta kamen kacha kaliaje heading into that is putting the president on check as per good governance and democracy. The Kabimbe Gambia, not even today, I just feel cool as a citizen. We have this responsibility in order to contribute our quota towards nation building. And in contributing our quota towards nation building, it requires a lot of strategy. That is why we have what you call political parties. That is why we have what you call civil societies. That is why we even have a government in place. So it doesn't make sense for us to just vote for public officials, for them to go and sit and occupy offices, then blow fold without putting them on check. Nalia Jibe on 2016 Malta Karte fight with the hope, a very beautiful manifesto, with the hope ko molbe changes sotolale, after changes minna molba sotolale. So far so good. Mafo ko molman changes soto. Alhamdulillah, there are certain changes me along it has been registered, but then there is a whole lot of changes me along they are still uncompromised, especially if you look at the area of good governance, if you look at the area of development. President Barrow and his government Ijamabale compromise. So as an activist, it is necessary for me to try and see how best I can go to certain platforms. So I am just a political activist. I don't belong to any political party. So ninga platform sotorek me alonko, it will help me disseminate this pivotal information to the public is very important. So lafta mina bi wolonga jibe, okay, nga instance jibe in which Barola government aka good governance compromise nyadile ebe molla democracy compromise kan nyadile aning mini nyanda ke pour ya kata pour ka improve. So we will just try to cherry pick certain instances and discuss on them. First of all, that is the issue of the coronavirus, the pandemic fund. Molia realize ko just ninkaro kono mola ninkari tambila President Barrow ye Minister of Finance. According to the President, ako I $500 million ile approve pour ye coronavirus ko kala. But Molia realize ko kabring ni kodo ning approved there is a lot of diamol siata je akuto. So minana diamo siata je because Gambian ulman confidence soto in the government. Mulmon confidence soto because kabri nata molia jele koditinya min keta nalia kalam tonung there was this audit report miala keta last year mialong ya conduct and audit report ni molia jele report ni mimbe tandi ka tandi ko most of our government parastatals engage blatantly engage themselves in corruption, in thievery and looting. So still now Masakunda Barola Masakunda Mansonka fem for report on Yukuna. So Molia Ajele Fanam issues mean emanate from the food and security. Molia Ajele food and security, food safety and security. Ila board the recommendation of Kele in order to hold the director to account musundingoning. So Molia Jele, what the President Barola Masakunda and Minke, they decide to step their feet on that board's report. So it's a clear indication that they are not interested when it comes to good governance, when it comes to ensuring that people are held accountable to things that they do while running our state of affairs. And Molia Jele, Fanang recently the manner in which Mola $500 million in Barola Mansakunda by Yuska Nyami. So first of all, let us discuss the coronavirus approved $500 million. In the Kabrak Master, I have been talking. This money, this $500 million, and in all the other funds now we receive from IMF and other funds we are receiving from other bodies. It wouldn't be used as expected. And it is clear. Because near section 34 of the Constitution, okay, there can be a state of emergency. And the purpose of that state of emergency, because near state of emergency pass, the moment you pass a state of emergency, you try to seize certain fundamental rights of the citizens. Because you don't only pass a state of emergency and then go and sit like that. Most of these serious Mansakundal Jube, for instance, in Senegal, for instance, in Rwanda, in America, most of these serious governments, mialonko ya lonne nyaton kayamu munelti. Kabriko okay, kabriko ila mole kon lafta pour aller si suokono. Imela mol sindi suokono ye jibe wonyama damang. No. Yela mol sindi suokono le inata kabila doku ol table, yela business ol table, yela domor fengol be table inata ko okay dal bula wonyama. Bal compensate la. Adama Barola Masakunda $500 million approved. That $500 million solely geared towards fighting the pandemic, that is the coronavirus in the Gambia. And currently, as statistic, going by a statistic, currently for killing Mole Wole Soto, Mia Lonko, Sasanyimbala. So one may wonder, Mina Atina ika 45 days extension only include. So Kabringa Konyire, some people were complaining. But recently, Molia Jela videos coming up in certain rural areas in the Gambia, Katandiko, NPP, because Ndafala no MPP, but Ndafala no NPP, but instead MPP, because President Formala Party along, he chose to call his party MPP, which is a disaster. So you see some of his members going in the rural areas, meeting people, giving them bag of rice, oil. So the reason why they decide to extend this to 45 days is to give them that leverage for them to push their political grassroots support. That is my observation. Because recently I have seen Dahaba, a video, came, out. You saw Dahaba giving out bag of rice to people in the rural areas. And we all know how rural people perceive this kind of gift as such crisis. What do we expect our government to do? I mean a serious government. Since you curtail the powers of the citizens during this emergency period, we expecting you to provide fund in order for citizens to get their basic necessities within these 45 days. The Constitution, yes, Even if you pass a state of emergency, that powers can be broken by the president. We know that. But that is a discretion. The president can choose to. Because we all know how Barrow wants to sit for more than 15 years in being all on it. So anything that will give him that political leverage over his opponents, rather, he is going to do it. This is what many people don't know. So you don't just only, say, there is a crisis, let me pass a state of emergency. No. It doesn't work like that. Still now, they cannot tell us where do they get the $500 million. Still now, I call $500 million approved. But at the because the 2020 annual budget new jubilee, Minister of Minister of Finance approved. I've seen it. Because in that budget, there is an allocation. It is called the centralized services. The centralized services, but that is not the fact, because by right, the budget emergency allocation or sort. But Majiji, so I was wondering, where is that $500 million coming from? So a serious government, Minister of Finance at the National Assembly, I'm off for more than $500 million in Botadami. And the same minister, the saddest thing is the same Minister of Finance at the National Assembly, akafoko ama miracle and the miracle, it wouldn't make sense, or it will be dangerous financially for Gambia government to cater for Gambian people at this period. If that happens, there is a need for Gambia government to exhaust their 2020 estimate. I was shocked when I had the Minister of Finance stating such, because I remember, if you guys remember, in 2018 December, Gambia government yelled 2018 budget allocation on exhaust, because President Barrow alone spent more than $300 million made the people talk. Within, just before the end of the year, they exhaust their money. And it was the same so-called minister who went to the National Assembly and asked for a supplementary budget. And that particular day, Ning National Assembly ma $1 billion approved for 1 month. Civil servants will go home without salary. It all minister will go home without salary, and everything will be stagnant. I think you know. So the same minister went back to the National Assembly at such crisis. It does not make sense for them to spend, because I calculate every company and include and this and thing, it will go up to $300 million, it will go up to $400 million. So basically what Minister of Finance is stating is simple, that when it comes to the people who put you in power, when it comes to their need, it doesn't worth it. But when it comes to the need of you, the elected officials, then it becomes a worthy cause. So in 2018, because he left the pretty legit far after their corrupt actions, now we have a serious issue at hand. Inata Aka try to play to the gallery, trying to play with the minds of the people. Agafoko Gambia government is working with GBOs, trying to know the statistic based on this. Still now, they are yet to say anything. Ramadan is coming. Our people are dying. Because Alenatalo Jole recently, what is happening in Kenya? We know the poverty level in the Gambia. Where is that money emanating from? In fact, just as I said earlier on, the purpose of this $500 million and all other funds is to ensure that they siphon it. They are going to misappropriate this fund. Let me give you an evidence. Just recently, if you not just go to Ministry of Health, ila website, you will see their budget allocation. Well, before that, there was a letter, me along affiliated and permanent secretary, aka minister to safe, allowance nyento. Minister put it to them clearly, come on, Lafiola. Minister to the National Assembly, ako, I alone there are certain people me along in order to siphon that $500 million in their pockets. And they will do it. I don't even excuse the minister. Let me put this clearly. Because the very day I questioned the capability of that minister was the very day I saw him joining the 5 years journal protest. I never expected that of him. Near the budget allocation of GB. They allocated for ambulance. We are not stupid. A serious government. Me alonko kabring alafta pur mole kate foyaye. Ako na nataba make sure ako molo hospital ibe falling. For 3 good years, I swear to God, I was a victim. I went to Fajikunda Hospital. Mutole Ntake, I went there. Paracetamol gale uledina. So bilong barola masakunda balona ko Gambia no le 16 ambulance. Gambia no le unile. Bile nyanda kalong. Bile nyanda kalong ko Gambia no le medicine require le B. So it is today that they also know they should provide medical facilities for the Gambian people. It is sad. So meaning African governments only knew or only know their responsibility when they are faced with urgent catastrophe. A clear indication that these are people who compromise public trust. These are people who compromise public confidence when it comes to governance. It is sad. And the most saddest thing is, how can you allocate $1.5 million for condoms? I don't know what has coronavirus get to do with condoms. I don't understand that. Trust me, I have worked with government institutions. Believe me. I'm not an economic economic specialist, but there's what you call price. There's what you call a price on inflate. For instance, ni laftaka kodo sort of from the money, the $500 million. You know what they do? If items solely include le je mialonko, amanya ndeke include je. So that they will, and if a price tag kelaje, so that they will have access to that money. And secondly, if they are serious in implementing the $500 million meant to fight the pandemic, why didn't they establish a committee? We have a National Assembly. We have a committee on health. We have a lot of committees at the National Assembly. Minatina it may include in the implementation. So if the minister is standing, telling us, okay, we are working with the Minister of Finance and we are going to ensure that there is transparency, there is, fiscal monetary discipline, in implementing this $500 million, and we start clapping. These are African public officials. Dollar official monk. It look a kodo muta equality. And the saddest thing is when we are talking, most of you out there will think that, oh, okay, you hate this government. Nobody hates this government. This was the exact mistake we made in past years. Mumusonka DMB dating. Atol Gambiano leka alema boro aka chikino mimbe domo atol leka kudo nyendiala. You fed the president. You sheltered the president. The fuel in his car, atoletam. The car, atoletam. State House abadaming atoletam. So it's a social contract. It's an agreement. Anate yala ako ne karte faye abe strong institutional le create la. Ako ne karte faye aba make sola corruption ate sotola ako ne karte faye aba make sola useful doko soto. Ako ne karte faye aba make sola more a human right violation okay abe hold to accountable. It was premise, it was the basis that you people when understood in the hot sun just to cast your vote for him. And now the good is we haven't seen any tangible proof other than doing anything Mialonko about entering in government. If you look at 21st century model of governance, especially in West Africa, now you go to President Madiba Bayo, Arobaro Niwolon, you go to the Liberian president, you try to do a comparative study and see the differences. You wouldn't see any difference. You wouldn't see any single difference. Mialonko, near compare, it will give you this confidence Katandiko, Gambia Bitaka Nyatole, compared to Sierra Leone. I remember a time when President Madibayo, one of our PR officer, went to the interview kan Keleto Ako, ate ala tentule Kabrai Masakunda Doko start Ibumolo. Just because of the statement, the president sacked her. But now go to the Gambia. Dusano is a mayor presidential advisor. Go to the Gambia and see. Aka mobile jelle muta. Korda jelle babulu. Aka kodo jelle di. Adamabarola Masakunda came with the pretext, this was the coalition agenda. Katandiko, there will be institutional reforms. And when we talk about institutional reforms, it is ensuring that we have fresh people. Mialonko, they met the standard criteria set by the Constitution when it comes to public officials. The Constitution ko public official, constitutional yo explain na akleta. Ako public official, nibe officer occupy la. Iman nyandaka record of any misconduct soto and human rights violations. You have to be clear of it. Well, I need that Kenya, serious countries like Kenya, if you go there, for you to be a judge, you have to be white like a snow. In Kenya, what they do is me appoint as a judge. Before ibe approval, it get talk television or to everywhere. Anybody, momo nata aye bulo chode ako nini. Then for you to occupy that position is always based on ambiguity, or you have to be questioned. Godoma, come on. Godoma, call Daddy for me. Let him come and help me here. Sorry, I think I need support here. So, mbewole foka. So, eba realize lako, mo lafta minna, hani say molma soto. Now, look at the kind of government officials we have currently working with the government. And we said it's a transitional government. The Minister of Finance, Jana Commission Yamuta. Protocol Officer, Jana Commission Yamuta. Minister of Interior, his name has been mentioned in the TRRC. The director of the so-called state of intelligence, Ibrahim Sow, his name has been mentioned. How many of them do we have in the government? You have the deputy CDS currently. His name has been mentioned. And in a serious, normal governance balance, what you do is to put them on administrative leave while such cases are pending. But you know what he did? When the Journal Commission report came, the president in the white paper, he decided, to exonerate certain, okay, let me ask you, he decided to execute certain individuals and then hold other people to account. Walatinna go as far as this draft constitution is concerned. This draft constitution is concerned. We Gambians should pay attention to this draft constitution. We should pay attention because this is our opportunity to get that institutional reforms we need, to get us that corruption free we need, to get us those strong men we need. It is this constitution. We have to do everything possible to make sure that this constitution is put on referendum and it is adopted. Because if this constitution is adopted, lots of things mialonko iketa barola temo, it wouldn't happen. Now win the next election. Oh, ning kate faido nata. It wouldn't happen. Because if you look at the constitution, it has progressive sections. This is my first time using this, so I have a problem with my computer here. Sorry, computer. Okay, I'm fine. Okay, something is appearing here. Something is appearing there. So another draft constitution on Njube. I very progressive provisions, Lesotho. Mialonko, they cater for good governance, they cater for democracy. You see, why I am advocating for us to have this. You see, when the 3 years Jotna came, because President Barrow made an agreement, I am going to serve 3 years. Nobody forced him. It was based on his will. And I allowed the 1997 Constitution of Benujele. And all those who surrounded him knew very well that the 1997 Constitution was there. Minanaman preference diwola. He went and signed an agreed Kombesila 3 years later for him to set a very clean political trajectory for others to follow suit as a transitional government. So Anata, he trampled on that. He trampled on the fundamental rights of the citizens in order to entrench himself in power. You see, Adiamo Formancia, because a citizen mutala arrest, I prosecute, Mindiata K. So the draft constitution came and solved everything. That is why we have to read the draft. Ninian final draft constitution on Njube. If it passed to this, we don't need the Public Order Act anymore. Because draft constitution on you clearly when it comes to basic fundamental rights of the citizens. That is why Nko Gambian Barola Masakunda is not serious in anything me alonko. abe democracy advance la and in good governance. Let me give you a scenario. Let me give you a reference. Minister of Justice National Assembly, I have intention also in order to amend the Public Order Act. Public Order Act mialonka somebody the police IGP and in governor put a decide a discretionary power for them to say, okay, I am gonna give you, I mean, whether your concern is genuine or not. Minister Nata, I have intention on you withdraw. Amana push for the amendment. How many amendments? And all those amendments are geared towards advancing their own cause to the detriment of the citizens. Minana, Hani saying they don't amend the Public Order Act if they are serious with good governance and democracy. Walakinna, Kabinta the Gambianulia, we talk to them. They put into consideration, we look at best practices, because currently, even on the international law currently, because Gambia is part and parcel of ECOWAS, but during election, Gambia no muyaka foko angambody for election, angambody for election, ninkate for your sita na bondije. It is more long within that 5 years. Gambia ga kadde for your soto every 5 years. Within that 5 years, masakunda be falale eka namo min be jo aba be falale ay bungulo wala ni nita manka monkunda. Ika bun ika jame ba katongoje. Ye bumba katongoje. Wuputa mintole. So it means menyanda kambulo mutatende every 5 years ngatanga karte fai. One holding government to account. That is not a serious government. Nita to Rwanda currently. Paul Kagame in his initiative talk to the people. Akasi temale. Citizenry are surround from all walks of life. Ika nyininka question Allah, ake answer, aka issues for it. Just during this virus, this coronavirus, and just well before the coronavirus, I Minister Sabale Bay on just basic excuses. Minister Lee fall to Minke, I buy. But just look at how many ministers Mialonko be blunders taken in the government. Just look at currently what the vice president did. I'm telling you, this is a clear indication, Katandiko, these people are not serious with anything that has to do with legal procedure. Vice President Laftaka Fondeko, at the National Assembly, at the 1997 Constitutional Minifo, with regards to the qualification for the position of an ombudsman. You went to the National Assembly, you don't even know what the Constitution stated as per the qualification of the office of an ombudsman. The Constitution, while you're holding a public office, you cannot be an ombudsman. So, just because they want to satisfy a particular governor, he is pushing their agenda in that region. Because National Assembly. Because National Assembly, na minun sotoji, wala minun yalong ko, yela office on yung compromise, yela security of 10 on yung compromise, nga brand envelope ji ito lela, abulana adila, yung taraji is majority, ninga certify, they will approve it. But Alhamdulillah, we have sober-minded MPs like Khalifa Saleh, Sidia Jata, Sana Jawara, Yakumba Jete. Very prominent and very focused, critical-minded MPs. You can go and do your homework. And let me tell those MPs, trust me, the vice president knew very well code. That is not the qualification. I alone. Believe me, I had killed with the intention to get that man in office. And believe me, there are a lot of constitutional blunder. Me along with this government, ya kele. Moli ajele hadi ya kuma jete la case. Moli ajele SIS la tonyim fali nyami amanta anyenda ka kenyami luato. Moli ajele currently vice president of Minge akataka mula qualification of samamiano constitutional. Moli ajele in 2018 the lua sounding nyami. Yebut Fumul be like 300 million in approved supplementary budget. We see it here. What are they compromising procedure just to satisfy their pockets? Molia Jele ye minke in the Jane Commission. So this is the issue. The only thing that will solve our problem is ensuring that being a diam. This has to come. This has to be enforced. 2021, this will be our model of governance. This will be our model of development. That is why if you look at the draft constitution, it is clear for the first time. For the first time, it has created what you call leadership and integrity. And we have been lacking this. We lacked it for 22 years and we are lacking it still now. Leaders without integrity, leaders without values. Leaders, they don't give preference to good governance. That is why when the Minister of Finance, okay, Masakunda, Ninkombe, $500 million, Ninkombe Kudu, we cater for each citizen. He said, you are sick. Just well before the Minister of Finance Beofola, Adamaboro said, RTS, Ako, the president said, the video is there. Ako, ala patio about London Stadium. I was like, oh my God. Meaning, the kind of crowd ST and Jesus come in pool at the stadium, President Olafaka Wala pool. It is sad. At the stadium, how many millions are they going to spend just to launch a political party? At a time when 45% of the population are living below poverty line. Wallahi, during our CRC consultation, I have seen what it takes to be poor in the Gambia. I have seen poverty with my naked eyes. I have seen people, because as a researcher, I face people. We have taken a discussion with them. We ask them, what do you want to see in the new constitution? People will not even tell us anything. The only thing that they will tell us is, we don't have food, we want food. That is why Anyandaka try a reporting survey. Because each of the final draft, we submitted a report of 225 pages. Read the report. Every provision in the section here, we justify it. And during the consultation, what it no constitution. So we read a report to bring it to the attention of the government. This and this. Citizen ko lafta wala. Ano niya report in Jibe? Iko politician ke kalamta only during election time. During election time. Because they knew that election can say okay, longer ni extend up to 45 days. So a money bottle sang. First lady is buying her man bottle. Second lady is buying her man bottle. The president is buying her man bottle. And the youth organization is buying her man bottle. Let us take it to the rural people. The only thing that they want is food. Nadila. Then we're gonna buy their political mindset. Well, under the constitution on Jibe, need tata to the office of the president. Constitution on Yimma sign, Kabo sign lama allow any president whatsoever to establish an organization. This so-called BYM Mialonko, Masakunda Molla state, resources tala about allocate laje pushing the government agenda, the president's agenda. We will not have that. Come and serve, and you are not going to serve under the pretext of getting funds from somewhere in the name of what NGOs. If you look at the draft constitution, according to President Otamata sign, near Fengo Diala, Fengo Ning and Yandaka declare, in fact, Fengo Ning Atante. And Yandaka K. This is how serious governments operate. Mulia Jele, the previous regime, Mulla Masakundal, how many times could he tell the data? Previous Masakundal. Where's the money? Mulia Jele, the Jane Commission revelation Mimbe Bondija, Mulia Jele. How many funds we receive in the name of the Gambian people? We haven't seen anything. Records are there. There is a particular provision in the Constitution. That provision, we shouldn't compromise that provision. There is what we call retrospective law. There is a retrospective clause. Ako, Adama Borobe Tamo Misafkan right now. Adabe a la first term of 10 years, first term of 5 years, Konole. Abijele. If the president and Nala Mansakunda Sontako, they are not here to entrench themselves in power, they are going to respect anything found in the final draft constitution. But in Tamala Gala, and I will not be surprised if the president with his Minister of Justice, Yabondi. Because right now, the President Oka Fandeleko, he is going to sit for 15 years. If you look at lots of constitutional development, in fact, near constitutional research and constitutional law, especially issues that has to do with term of office of the president. Gambia be banku dantan ekonomiya lonko hanis time iman lafika term limit ke as their constitutional agenda, their good governance agenda. Alhamdulillah, sign final draft near Ketap. But whether they are not going to manipulate it, because Moya Jela Keta in the 1997 constitution, during the referendum, it was there. Term limit was there. Just well before the referendum. So this should send a clear message that we cannot trust this government. We cannot trust this government. These are African governments. Walatina near democratization read kendeke in Africa katandilako. Separation of power is always a menace within the African governance structure. Why? Because the executive is always powerful. Wala na baro sita ka fuko nga sembo sotole purka ya kumabay nga sembo sotole purka anybody by mialonko aninna silo manta whether lua sontala amasong abe bayla. Believe me, mulmeta batarine. So this section in the constitution, in the final draft, shouldn't be changed. Let the president continue serving his 5 years. The other 5 years, I law constitutional ma fatilola I law nimole karte fire ye now winter. I see 5 years, I G 10 years. I tell a business or whatsoever. If there will be another commission set for him, let there be another commission set for him. Yeah, finally investigate. But we don't want to allow a president, after completing his 5 years, a president who promised us that he's going to sit for 3 years, he abdicate his moral, responsibility, serve another 2, illegally serve another, 2 years, also wanted to serve another 5 years and another 5 years to make it 15. What is this telling us? What is this telling us? Just within 2 years, within 2 years, within 3 years of governance, the only thing that we have is blunders. Blunders upon blunders. Blunders upon blunders. Political sackings that are entirely based on politics. That is the order of the day. Compromising procedures. That is the order of the day. Corruption. That is the order of the day. Political entrenchment. That is the order of the day. And you people want us to keep quiet? I have always said this, and I will keep saying it. Gambia is a nation of individuals. As long as you are not affected, you don't talk. And you see some crazy people out there will tell you, okay, Alieu, you are a young man, do not talk, don't talk because, nila faka doko apply masakunda ta dile le. What nonsense is that? Who cares whether I need work from the government? That is why if you look at the Constitution, I am so happy. That Constitution on Jibele, for the first time in our constitutional history, constitutional provide code there is what you call the right of whistleblowers. Nale American politics follow Albarana, who are the whistleblowers? You expose it. For the first time. Well, I think now we have to do something about this draft. So, Sunyar Jamal Bekerim, because we have been seeing leaked documents. So, if Gambian people, Yalonko, okay, Lua Bijele Mialonko Ayen Tankale, Koninga corruption oja abe keringa exposed, abe protect lale. A constitutional prescription, abe protect lale, then you have nothing to fear. In fact, you will do everything possible for that particular law to come into force. If you look at the Constitution, there shall be a right to access to information. Journalist information because I don't know. A clear indication was the Banjul project, Banjul rehabilitation project. So, Indian constitutional matter, everything has to be done. Everything. The Kelele can make so. Government a bankudingo left the information on Minanida and Mansakunda Walling. If the information is not a threat to the security of the country, a public interest or whatsoever, Masakunda Nyandaka make sole citizenolio information on your law. So you can see all these things are geared towards ensuring that we have good governance structures. The IGP, President okay, IGP. No, the office of the IGP has now been secured because Molbe Alone, the current IGP, is serving the interests of the president. Molbe Alone, because in the 3 years Jotna movement, we have seen it. The politics involved in that. Because the IGP was serious and his security of tenure was secured in the previous constitution and he respects his works. He is going to arrest those, so-called Josuan vigilante youths who went and attacked innocent, protesters. But no, they didn't do that. They went against the 3 years Jotna movement, very innocent citizens whose, crime were only to manifest their God-given right to peaceful assembly. So Niamo is saying president of IGP by la fengele saying country draft constitutional man. Well, na draft constitutional and you loophole so bele GB. I try to seal. So what I think the moment we have to do everything possible for us to have this draft constitution. The draft constitution in GB, you must have grade 12 certificate. 12 years experience. And next election, we are going to Monyal Betal Lorine, Katara Adam Boro Jube, Katara IEC Jubeka. Constitutional standard may meet. We are going to make sure that that standard is respected. Adam Baro or whoever, Mialonko, you want to stand for election, you must meet the criteria set by the Constitution. Adam Baro has to show us that quite 12 years experience, certainly, in governance, in the public sector, not just experience for the sake of experience, it has to be proven. And the grade 12 results, Akai Minister from Muslim, IEC Nyandaka investigation or Kele can make sure that grade 12 results kata white can authenticate, because we know how our public officials manipulate documents. We know that because we have seen most of these politicians claim to have degree, claim to have grade 12 certificate. Where are they, Masoto? So I am not speaking here because you think I hate the government. No, I don't hate the government. Why should I hate my government? I voted for the government. I am holding the government to account. It is their responsibility to fulfill their promise. We have to make sure that something is done. If you look at the draft, from now on, President Barrow or whoever will never and ever appoint a nominated member at the National Assembly. In fact, serious governments from Wobika Soto. Why will the president sit and say, okay, I'm going to appoint somebody for what? No. If you want to serve as a National Assembly member, you go back to the people. Because when we say National Assembly, it is a house on behalf of the people. In direct representation. So if the people are not happy with you, they can remove you through petition or through election or through a court, a court of reference. And for the first time in our constitutional history, near draft, final draft, new final jube, I create nanata mola nanata to holding the government to account. Because near previous constitutional jube, I limitless. I had a madungola symbol in limit like a tandigo jumalebe issue filana against the executive. A fundamental breach of a constitution. Okay. Now, meaning, they Alieu Gako fonse wuli no le sign. Na barola man sakunda su. Wala tin nanko Gambia no. Wala nandeko 3 years journal movements. Those who were imprisoned and then tortured, they should sue Gambia government to ECOWAS court. Yes, because right now, AG is the Gambia government and AG, because even the president said it. Right now, they are struggling on how to pay financial compensation to all those whose rights were violated. So they knew this, but still now they continue violating the fundamental rights of the citizens. So right now we have a lot of NGOs in the Gambia. So even if you cannot stand for yourself, that particular NGO can get up and stand on behalf of you and sue the Gambia government. Mole was not a sign. Even Mommy Alonko, I'm not interested at all. Because previously, you must have a local standard, you must have an interest in a particular case. But even I'm not interested in a case, for instance, you can stand on behalf of somebody. If this constitution comes into, is enforced. Near constitution on GB sign, I balance a separation of power in Keta sign. The 3 organs of governance, within the state, I am make sure executive, especially the president. Because currently in 1997 constitution, symbol member president of Asiatale. But near final draft ni jibe, ni president be appointment ola. Most of these state enterprises, ila director general, ila MDs, nyanda kata National Assembly because currently mo la National Assembly be impact minke kam in scrutinizing certain individuals. Mo la the first recommendation MIM5 when President Barrow recommendation for the appointment of an ombudsman. Mo la the second one for minke. So some ministerial appointment will be undergo through the National Assembly. Yes. If you want serious governance. And if you look at if you also look at the Constitution, the judiciary, it is more protected now. Executive has to struggle in order to sack a judge and a chief justice. And this is good for our governance structure. Yes, it is good. So right now, even if you look at the draft constitution, natare ilafa president yala. Bari janika president ya nyiri, o tema mineba nyineka. Yekuma kan dol for mia lonko ay tribal issues costly. A problem but create, it can be an obstacle to your qualification. So we want IEC to do thorough research and see all statements uttered by the current government, the MPs, and everybody. Because what we want, come 2021, when this constitution is in place, is to ensure that we have a government, Mia Lonko, a Samiata. Believe me, Nalia Gambia is prospering. We are fooling ourselves. There is nothing working. Because some people are telling me, okay, there's media freedom in the Gambia. You mean media freedom? Media freedom when journalists cannot access information? When Gambia government cannot face journalists? When 2 radio stations were closed? When journalists were arrested? You are telling me there is media freedom in the Gambia? Are you kidding me? Well, we don't know what is media freedom. No, we don't know what is media freedom. You mean there is corruption free in the Gambia when the president and his ministers are every day building mansions? You mean there is corruption free in the Gambia? You mean there is respect for human rights? When youths in Birikama wanted to protest, they were tear gas. When 3 years Jonna movement wanted to protest, they were tear gas and taken to court. You mean there is human right? Are you kidding me? You mean there is legal reforms when the Public Order Act is there making life a hell of a pinpoint for citizens to sow their dissatisfaction towards the government? Are you kidding me? You mean there is leadership demonstration when the president is every day lying on his bed, not talking to the citizen whenever there, occurred crisis? Are you kidding me? Maybe we are yet to read and observe the political trajectory in other governments. So this is what I have for you guys for today. My time is up. So just because I appear for the purpose of clarity, just because I appeared on the UDP TV, media doesn't mean that I am pushing for a political party's agenda. I am a political activist. I don't belong to any political party. Any political party that gives me political party, civil societies, online platform, I conduct interview everywhere. They are there. If you check on Google, if you check WhatsApp, there are radio stations everywhere since, before coming to Canada here. I am here to make sure that we put the government on task. And this is a moral duty. If you don't believe me, check, Section 220 of the 1997 Constitution. It has clearly stated the duties of a citizen. So we have to, be seen manifesting this duty. So all we want is to ensure that, our government is put to task. Yes, that is why, Lincoln said it, government of the people, for the people, and by the people. You have to serve the interest of the people. That is why you are put to task. So thank you very much, Badingol Alabarkabake, for being patient. Yes, Yanks, thank you very much for providing the platform. Itening fenke nakeba munatoni fang again. Yeah, sana nimfenke. Yeah, Alabarka bake. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Akiatol mel be jibero la science ali wala programme fe la banta al kanata hanjandi da sanala programme kana kuma science sana jaji be dunna nan in 10 or 5 minutes later pour kana la political discussion o nyina defana ko be sana join na jele nin ala sota ala barka bake o janding sana be dunna na watu menna certainty nyola sana la political discussion wala sana bina la very important programme wala bi tanteng program will be along ko abe lunta so laje interview, but he just want to make it a surprise guest for the viewers. So nali be ben national la fun ko nyento ni ala sonta ala baraka